What's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday night. Welcome to another amazing Pop Force 1 live stream. I see a bunch of people have been waiting for the last few minutes. We got a huge show for you guys. We are bringing on our first ever featured guest that we're going to interview tonight, and it's a big one, guys. We got the CEO of Pop Price Guide, which you guys might have heard of, attached to HobbyDB. So I know some of you guys will have some questions. We are going to have a big stream and a lot of fun tonight. But without further ado, I think it's time to bring on the other three critical members that make up Pop Force 1, starting with the Soda King. Rock and Row is here.
What's up? What's up?
We also got Professor Josh, who will take you to school without you even knowing. What's up, Josh?
What's going on, everyone?
And we also got America's dad, head of America's family, Vince from the Poppin' Duo. What's up, brother?
I like that intro. That was a good intro.
Try to spice it up a little bit.
We need some background music. We need some of that, you know.
Intro music.
Welcome to the stage.
You just have to make sure it's YouTube friendly. That's all.
Exactly. But what's going on, guys? We already got some great people in the chat. I see Velvet is here. Christopher Went is here. Sarah's here. What's going on, Sarah? Rob, all the way from Toronto. What's going on, brother? I see Aussie Pop and Paul, Anna, Jeremy, Perks of Collecting, Seth Floyd in the house. Dan is here. Big Easy's House of Pops. Guys, if you are in the chat, whether you're watching on your phone, tablet, computer, or TV, drop a little emoji there. Let us know you're waving. We're going to have a very interactive stream as usual. And in about 7 to 8 minutes, we're going to bring on our first guest. We're going to kick off tonight's show by talking about a very burning topic, which I'm sure a lot of people have an opinion on. As we all know, the Turtle Sodas dropped on the Funko Shop yesterday.
Can we keep what we talked about before the show kind of hush hush? I don't want to get shot.
Oh yeah, no, of course. There's an NPFO.
What, that Jim bought 5,000 of the 10,000 sets? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
No, not that part. Not that part.
Don't talk about that part.
Out.
No, it good or bad. I mean, it was up there for a while. Everybody had a shot at it. It didn't sell out in 3 seconds. So
no, it didn't sell out. It was a big deal because something did sell out for the first time in a long time, but it didn't sell out right away.
Nope, so, you had a shot to get it. So
took a little time. It wasn't bad though.
No.
For how many sets? What do you think was in the U.S.? Like 6,000 sets?
6,000. I would say 60%.
I'd say 6 to 7. Yeah,
60 to 70%. I would say the other 30 because it's still available. If you have any friends in Europe,
Pop culture too, Australia, right?
And it was about $10 cheaper.
With Krang there.
But okay, I know John just put up a poll. If you guys want to do the poll, what do you guys put in the chat? What you guys think of? Do you like them? I think it's the same molds. The molds are exactly the same. I think they look terrible. The paint looks bad on them. Like it doesn't look that it doesn't matter.
I thought the commons actually looked halfway decent. I don't like the turtle chases. I don't care for.
No,
I get what they tried to do, but
yeah,
I like the commons. I think the commons are just fine. The chases are going to just be a pain for everyone because even if you ordered 2, you could get 2 of the same chases because it's 1 chase per lunch box, right?
Yeah.
Or you could order 8 and got all the same chases. You know, you never know. So it's going to take forever for people to find the chases. So they're definitely going to be hot, the chases, if you were a completionist.
Yeah.
If you're not,
well, the only thing in saying that, I feel like the secondary market's going to get kind of flooded with all of these.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
1, because I think a lot of flippers did buy them. 2, because a lot of people I think are not going to try to collect all the chases. I think a lot of these are going to become available. I would say don't go out and try to pick these up in a panic. Because even the most expensive OG turtles that have been sitting around now for a long time, and these aren't that much more limited, they're still not crazy price. So I think that these are going to be, they're not going to be cheap, but, I think don't panic. And
now
once they start hitting the secondary market, we'll see what happens.
Do you think the the value is going to go up on these chases because it's going to be so hard to complete. Like like Josh said, you might get 3 Rocksteady chases, you know, if you bought 3 cases of them.
It's going to be harder because first, you know, you could only get so many. And then, like, with that, they're $100 a piece. So it's not like you got lucky by buying, like, 2 of each. You know, you have to buy 6 at a time. So you're spending $100 per. So even if you were totally lucky, it would cost you $600 to get a full chase set, at least.
Yeah.
So starting price is easily going to be $100.
That's $600 with perfect luck.
Yeah. So easily $100 to $150 starting gate, no problem.
So I'm all about price speculation and looking down the road. I think this is a perfect opportunity. If you guys have not picked up the OG turtle soda set with those chases, go get them now, because I think with all the turtle hype and people getting to the soda game right now with these turtles, they're going to want the OGs, in my opinion.
I think the one that's going to go up the most, I still say Shredder's going to go up the most because it's the only one not in this set, unless they come out with another version of Shredder, and that it's Blacklight. So it matches the set perfectly. So that Shredder chase is going to become even harder. And it was starting out, so that was one of the first ones. So it was 12,000 cans total. So, you know, to get the common, you know, you can get it pretty decent, but Shredder chase I've seen go for 125. You know, right now it's kind of priced at, but I've seen it go for more, you know, a lot more.
And I like the commons of the 4. I'm kind of upset it's the same mold, but I like the commons, but those chases of all of them just look whacked out. I don't know.
The burning question that I have, I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, is like, why we're 2 years into sodas? Why did we need more turtles? There's so many other characters they could make. Now I understand money, and they already have the mold, so they can crank them out really easy. But like, come on, Funko, like put in some time and effort into some sodas of characters we don't have yet.
I think they were trying to strike while the iron's hot. I think Blacklight obviously is Blacklight right now, and turtles are turtles. So you put the two together, you get a 10-minute sellout. You sell 10,000 sets at $100 a piece, and I think it is a little bit of a cash grab, which I don't blame them. I think that the commons look good. The chases I don't love, but
remember when those turtles came out originally, the sodas weren't as big as they are now. Yeah. So they're looking at, we didn't make enough. I mean, we didn't get enough money out of that. It's so hot right now. We need to do it again. What are we going to come up with?
Well, you know what? I've seen a lot of people actually that missed out on the OG turtles say, you know what? I'm buying this set because I don't have any of the OGs, or I'm not going to be able to get any of the OGs. So this is why I'm going to buy this set now. Because really, it's $100 seems steep, but really, if you break it down, you know, at $15 even a soda, it really wasn't that bad of a price.
$15 a soda. $90 and $10 for the cooler.
Yeah. And I've already had people message me saying, "Hell, do you want to trade a common for the chase because I need the common to complete the set of 4?"
I can see that happening.
Steven brings up a good point, and he's saying he's predicting a Nightmare Before Christmas soda cooler set. Do you guys think this is the start of us seeing soda bundles with, you know, bags as a potential accessories? Like, are they going to try to keep doing this with other major licenses and themes because it's easy money? You know,
remember way back, or we were doing PFO at the time. Remember they were talking about 6-packs? They were going to do 6. This is their 6-pack.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
I have a feeling more are coming. Yeah.
Perfect example. These are all individual pops, right?
Yes.
But, hey, you want them all together? Here you go. This is how you buy it too. So I think it's an easy one. The problem is like Motu's one of those they have a lot out of, so they could easily do a Motu set. You know, there's not a lot that have the turtles was an easy one because all of them were out.
Yeah.
What if
they
didn't have to make anything?
Yeah, if they drop a Ghostbusters set before finishing the OG Ghostbusters set, I'll be so upset.
What if they drop a Star Wars 6-pack from the get?
Oh, I'm not even gonna go on my computer. I'm just gonna drive straight to Funko. Like, I'm just gonna go.
It's got the first flight to HQ right there.
But anyway, guys, we're gonna pause the soda talk for tonight. We're all very excited. I'm sure at some point during the stream tonight we will come back to sodas because it's all tied in with what we're going to talk about tonight. So I want to introduce a very special guest tonight, Christian, coming on for us. We are very, very excited to have him on. Everybody in the chat, please, if you have a question, please hold on to it towards the end. We do want to have you guys ask questions, but we actually have a list of prepared questions for tonight's stream. We're going to put up some polls throughout the night so you guys can interact and still participate. And we really hope you enjoy the conversation. This is a huge event and hopefully the start of something that we could potentially do every 3-4 months, bring on a big guest like this. But we are beyond excited and thrilled to bring on Christian from HobbyDB. As long as he gives me the big thumbs up, we will bring him on. All right, so everybody please welcome to the stream, Christian.
Woo!
Hi guys.
We're still working on like sound effects and all that, you know, coming 2023.
Where's your buzzer?
We need the buzzer. Exactly. We need a buzzer. So anyway, Christian, welcome. Please, you know, take a minute, you know, introduce yourself to everybody. Tell us how, you know, a little bit of what you told us backstage.
Sure. So I've always been a collector. I'm now a collector of collector. HobbyDB is an attempt to document every collectible ever made, and there's lots of them out there. And Pop Price Guide is one of the many websites that joined us, and it gave us a full Funko database. We've got about 26,000 Funko items up now. So always happy to answer questions about HobbyDB or Pop Price Guide. The interface is exactly the same. The only exception is the logo and what I call the context. Pop Price Guide will only show you Funko products, and HobbyDB has currently 700,000 other items.
Very nice. Well, that's a lot of items. And obviously, everybody in the chat, you know, this is a website, a database that we use a lot. And it's the backbone of the collecting community because no matter where you are, reseller, collector, flipper, I mean, we're all flocking towards it, you know, basing off our sales, what we're going to buy, off these values. So I want to kick off tonight's conversation with a big question of, you know, what are the sources for the values for these products? Like, where is that data funneling in from?
Okay, so when I started HobbyDB, I wrote a white paper about what should the price guide be. When Pop Price Guide joined us, Pop Price Guide was created by a guy called John Hamm and a bunch of volunteers. He used eBay prices, and that's obviously the easiest out there, and it's a good benchmark. So eBay prices are a big part of what we do, but then there's also, we got our own marketplace, and we know those transactions happen, so we take those. We started doing the retail price. Every price chart should really start with the retail price. Mm-hmm. You know, if you go out there and you buy an item at $14.99, well, that's the value that most people paid for it in the beginning, and that's kind of where it should start. So retail price is the easy one. Then we have auction house prices. So you can take different auction house prices and put them into the system. We are close to start working with pristine auctions because we now do autograph pops, and they're very good at that. We take any price point that can be verified. And maybe important. That's an important decision because that unfortunately doesn't allow us to use Facebook prices or Mercari prices. You know, we want to have a place where you can check that price, i.e. a URL where you can go on and see that. You know, with eBay sometimes the transaction didn't happen, but there was the intention to buy an item, and that's important to us. You know, if you're a Facebook transaction in a private chat or a Mercari transaction, there is no link that you can go to, that you can link to, that people can verify. So we don't take those. Everything that be verified, we take. We're also talking to $7 a pop about taking his price points because we know him, we trust him, we like him, and he does a lot of vintage high value pops, and those would be valuable to have in the price guide. So the idea is really to take any price that we can, technically speaking, where we have the ability to check that price.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So when you say auction houses, is Pristine Auction the only one you're working with? Because this is the first I've ever heard of an auction.
No, we do heritage auction. We can do any auction house. We can also do any price guide written, or it's just that in Funko that's not really that relevant. It's much more relevant in some other areas that we do. Pristine I mentioned because we've done a big push for autographed pops, and they're a good source of pricing data for that. If there's another auction house that has pops, we can take those prices as well. With Pristine, we're going to get a fee, so we'll do all of their prices. With other auction houses, a volunteer needs to take that price and put it in.
How does it get from, like, let's say there was a big auction that 2 weekends ago? How long does it take to get that information to adjust the price, or the, you know what I mean? Like, what's the time frame?
Well, so price points can be added. Okay. 2 steps back. Price points get added by our community, with the exception of HobbyDB prices, because those we know what they are. So eBay prices, auction house prices, retail prices get added by one of our 2,000 volunteers. We call them the squad. And they can add them at any point of time. And then twice a day, we run calculations on the price. So if there's a new price point, it will get calculated, worst case, 12 hours later.
Got it.
I get it. You know what? I got a quick question. So with the retail pricing, it still has to be input by somebody, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that's actually a fair point. Now, when you bring on squad members, which honestly I'm thinking about signing up, even though I don't have any time, I actually really find this stuff fascinating.
Is this when we drink?
Yeah, we can drink.
Yeah, we can drink whenever you want.
We can drink all night. Keep going.
I thought that was real, and you're not joining the squad.
Gotcha.
I like it. He's paying attention. I like it.
Yeah, he's with it. I like it.
So basically, if you have a retail, let's say, is there any way to instruct a squad member? And I don't know exactly how the onboarding is and whatnot with that, but is there any way to instruct a squad member not to put in a price before a retail price is entered? Because I've found it before.
The retail price has a date to it, okay. So it should be dated as close to the announcement of, or as close to when the product comes out.
Right.
In fact, you can have an interesting circumstance where you have pre-orders.
Yes.
And then the retail price.
That was going to be one of my questions tonight. Yeah.
But we can take that into account. Basically, we have the retail price. We also have something which is called the user estimated value. And that is the view of a user, and you can see who that user is. You can click through and see that person's showcase in their collection and so on and so forth. We only take those prices if we have nothing else. So sometimes you find a prototype. We obviously need transactions. We want it to be based on transactions. So if you have a prototype system, somebody can add a price point to it. It's called a user estimated value, and then somebody else can add a user estimated value, and we take we calculate a means of those until a real price comes along, and then those go away. They still display, but they don't get calculated anymore.
Yeah, because I was noted. I guess this is the time to ask this, and I'm going to talk about a specific pop, but obviously I know that this is something, and it makes it hard. But like when you have a pre-order, that this particular pop that I was looking at today, kind of went through the strip, started off, the pre-orders were selling between $40 and $50 a pop. This was an FYE exclusive pop, so the price started off at $60 for this. Now, over time, it has come down. It's still, and I'm assuming that when we're taking these, if you have only so many price points, like how many, you're going to need a lot of price points put in there that are closer to that retail value to get that price to come down to where it's supposed to be at. Have you guys ever thought of not allowing pre-order items that are not physically in hand, not letting that go in? Or
so to me, a price, the important thing on the price is the intention. Give you an example.
Okay.
Give you an example. If you buy an item on eBay and you're willing to pay $60 and you pay that $60 and you get the item and it's not in mint order and you send it back, We at the moment take that price out, but I still think that was your intention at the time, which is what we want to value, right? You were willing to pay $60 for it, just the item wasn't good enough, and you sent it back. So if you're willing to pay for an item 60, I mean, I'll give you an example. Every year there are 2 Hot Wheel conventions, and there are Hot Wheel convention specials. And most websites adhere to an embargo. So 2 weeks before, you can pre-sell them. People buy them. You have to have a ticket to go to the event. You get the car, and you can then pre-sell it. Generally, the first car goes for $400, and they cost $25. And then the next one goes for $150, and then it either goes a little bit down or it goes up. But basically, you got this curve that every time happens like this. And what's happening here is somebody wants the ability to say they're the first to have this car, and they're willing to pay much more money than they should. And to me, that's interesting. I mean, we haven't done that yet, but we plan to chart prices, like all soda can chases, all Hot Wheel convention cars. And then you can see that starting in 1992, this was the curve. And then in 2002, it kind of flattened out because people kind of got the idea now. That to me is interesting. So I want to measure the intent at the time when you do the purchase of what you want to pay. So if pre-orders go like this and then come in and then go up again, that's okay.
So I have a great example of that, and it's probably one of the ones that kind of talked about before. So a great example is the NFT redeemables right now. No one has those in hand. They've maybe submitted them and they're going to get them. Turtles is the first one. It was 3 months out from when you submitted it. But there's price right now of $390 on PPG. Off of 4 sales that are, I guess, on eBay. It's not bringing up the price point where it was from, but no one has those in hand. And that's a great way to also skew a price. If I was a seller, I knew I was getting 10 of 20 of those, I would have my friend buy one on eBay, have that price at $400. Then you can easily say, well, look, on PPG, it says $400.
So 2 things. First of all, the price points will be there. They're always below. They may load slowly, but we always show them. That's why I said earlier, we want you to be able to do the research. So that aside, let's talk about that particular Funko Pop. Yes, there can be manipulation, and frankly, there is. We found, in fact, we had at 2 point of times where people joining the squad with the pure intention of, manipulating prices. We caught them out. We have an internal audit team. There's 5 people that have been with the site for a long time, and they internal audit our price points. And the second time this happened, there was 3 people, and not only did they join us, they must have bunkered a certain number of items, which they then sold on eBay to each other. And then they came in and reported those prices, and they were actually eBay prices, and they, in the eBay world, they kind of happened. I'm sure they didn't really pay each other or whatever, but they must have had some more, and then they were going to sell them afterwards. We found out about it. We reported. We moved those prices. But what's the alternative? I mean, if we weren't there, you would go to eBay and you would find those price points. That was a sophisticated scam that we found out about because we've got really good at this. Unfortunately, we got to deal with this every day. We got maybe 100 flags a day. Every price point has a flag next to it. You can flag it. And somebody will review that and make a decision on that. And about, I would say, 1/3 of the flags are correct and 2/3 are not. So it's a lot of work, and we see all kinds of scams. We have a list of 250 eBay vendors that we just don't use because once you have 2 or 3 problems, that guy goes on the blacklist.
Do you think things like Whatnot, it's really changed kind of the Funko selling game? Do you think more people are buying from other places than eBay? So really eBay is only the sources are a really small source compared to other places that people are buying now for how much the market has changed. I mean, all of us sell on Whatnot, and we probably, any of us could sell 100 things easily a week, where on eBay, I'd never be able to sell 100 things a week.
There's definitely many more places. We talked about Macari. Macari, I think, is an important place too now. And it is unfortunate we have reached out, and we will continue reaching out to Mercari to see if we can get their price points. I also talked to the Whatnot team about getting their price points. We'd love to get more price points. You know, I mean, in a way, I think it would be interesting to see, you know, here's a price point for the last 300 new Funkos. This is what they sell on Whatnot. This is what they sell on Mercari, and this is what they sell on eBay. That would be interesting. I'd love to do that kind of thing.
I would love to see that.
Is Whatnot not responding to you, or is it still in the works, or what's happening with that?
I think it's not high on the agenda.
Yeah.
Which is funny because early on, they really utilized you guys and pulling your data to showcase prices. Because most of us have been selling from the beginning when they started live sales. But I remember buying and selling from them. I looked now; it's about 2 years ago. So they're, about 2 years old, and they utilize price guide to like kind of show prices on there. So I was curious of like, it seemed like they wanted it early on.
I'll make a note and call them tomorrow. Again.
Definitely reach out to Grant and Logan.
I think we also use StockX for prices, but
they also have a much larger team now than they did
Grant
before.
Logan's our contact.
They have about 100 people on their team compared to 6 about a year ago, 2 years ago.
So in regards to we're talking about the auction platforms and everything, and a couple people have mentioned in the chat, they said Whatnot sales seem to sell at over marketplace on a lot of items. And that may be the case in maybe an auction that has like 300 or 400 people, but there's a lot of auctions. Like the average auction right now on Whatnot only has 15 people. So would you guys just take an average across the board when you have an auction house? Because it definitely, having people in the room, that definitely plays an impact on the sale price.
Yeah, so prices tend to be self-correcting. I mean, what we do is when we calculate, when you see a chart gets created when we're 3 price points, and then we start doing a chart. If the price is off, it tends to self-correct. Now, maybe not for items, like the Clockwork Orange, where there are only 12 made. Yeah, but for anything normal, it readjusts. And a Whatnot price, I mean, we could take a discount on that, but I think that would be arbitrary. If there's a Whatnot transaction happening in a room full of people, would take that price. I mean, one thing that we could do is show outliers, and then our calculation takes that into account. Takes outliers into account. We're trying to show you what is this item trending at today. That's really what we're trying to show you.
That's what I was going to ask. So when you're getting a price, is that averaging it over the lifespan of since that was
no. The older the price is, the less it comes into effect.
So if a pop starts, let's say a pop starts at retail, it's at 15. There's sales you have a couple sales at 100. Now the price is going to maybe go up to 90, 95, something like that. Now, as the sales start to go down over time, you're discounting those $100 sales at the beginning and going.
The most recent transactions are always by far. If we have 10 recent transactions, the rest almost doesn't matter.
Okay, that's interesting.
If we have 2 transactions and they are 3 years apart, then the second price point is also much less valuable than the first one, the current one, right?
So it's not as simple as just here's 10 price points. Here's the average of those 10 price points over the last year and a half.
No. We do what every normal person would. I mean, if you you can obviously look at eBay past sales, and what we want to do is we want to make it easier for you to do that. We want to get more price points. We know we have a list of 250 active scammers on eBay. We've had 5,000 over the time, so we remove those. We remove transactions that we know didn't happen, so we basically cleaned that data out. But you would go back in time saying, okay, last week it was sold for 120, and then for 90, and then for 80. So maybe it's worth 125 now. You really want to look at that curve and saying, where is it going? We tell you the 120 at the moment. We are thinking of also giving a prediction where we're saying, okay, it's 120, and this is the range that we expect it to go next. It's going up a little bit, going down a little bit, but that would be speculative. We explain that, saying that is what we think is going to happen next, but obviously that's only based on the data that we have.
Right.
And you changed your algorithm about a year or so ago. Was it a year and 2 years ago?
Yes, it had only 3 bands. We have now 8 bands.
Yeah.
The time bands are important in that calculation. What we wanted to avoid is if a price point dropped out of a price band, it had a big impact on the price, and it shouldn't really.
Yeah. So something was really high, and then it kind of went down, but still, like, maybe
it was only 30 days, and when it got out of the 30 days, it had a big impact. But a 29-day-old price and a 31-day-old price are not really that different.
So shout out to Smiley Fig. Yeah, everybody take a drink. We'll take
Cheers.
a pause for a second. Cheers, everybody. So I'm glad we're talking about this because I have a specific pop in mind, and I just brought up the graph, and I want to talk about it just because it was a very big pop from last year, and I just want to get your feedback on it because as you'll see from the graph here, I guess you guys, from what I gather, you go off the very first sale and then you go from there. So it jumps from retail to the first sale, and that is the Blacklight Eddie Brock Venom T bundle. And if you look at this thing, the graph will show you guys it started out at, like $220, and then it comes down, right about $230 on July 14th of 2021, and then over time it's obviously come way down with restocks and everything.
This week there were $35 over in overseas.
So the day I guess my question is here, the day that it dropped, somebody sells it July 12th, somebody sells it for $220, like boom, like that's the first price that goes in.
Well, you can it's still loading there. It will load the price points there with that little trail that's happening. And you can go down all the way. You can see every single price point. So for this one, we will have 3, it's hard to read for me, 9, 18, 25 price points. So there will be 25 price points that when that thing ever finishes loading, you can see and you can check. Also, we didn't have retail prices at that time. So yes, when we get the first price, that's going to be the price that evening. And then when the second price comes in, it starts calculating and using an algorithm.
So the reason that this is such a big point of contention is, for flipping, reselling, in the community, when someone has that initial bundle, and kind of the focus of all 4 channels is, we're always looking out for people in the community, or at least trying to encourage people to not shell out an arm and a leg for something that's brand new, that's probably not going to be super valuable over time. And right now, like, this item is a perfect example. So why, instead of taking the first price, why wouldn't you give it, let's say, 30 days, for example, to let the market settle out and then gather the data?
Every time you use a tool, you need to know there's just restrictions. Our data is only as good as much price points as we have. If we were going to wait for that period, well, what do people do then? Then they go to eBay and trying to work it out. And people always want to know what the price is.
They'll still pay the $200 regardless.
Yeah, we can put a caveat next to it. Yeah. As I said, that Hot Wheel convention car, every time it comes out, the first guy pays $400 for it. Pretty much guaranteed. If you're the first guy who puts it up on eBay or Toy Peddler or somewhere, that's what you get. It's a nice price. And somebody's willing to pay that because they want to have that item. There is a big premium on being the first to have something. You can put it on social media. People are willing to pay for that.
And we all know that because, great example. You guys did videos on it, Jim and John. Remy soda. It's not even on Pop Price Guide. It's not even there on
picture
PBD.
of it. There's no picture of it even.
You need to put it on there. You guys need to add it because you guys could be the first ones to add it. But you guys got them early on, so you guys got them, and no one even knew about the drop of them because they haven't mentioned state-wise. It was just international and things like that. So that's a great example of things before anyone else kind of gets it. Just like we have the turtle set that just dropped. We were just talking about the other day. People went to Funko Hollywood, bought a turtle set, 2 turtle sets for $100. They went somewhere to sell them. Now, probably they didn't go to eBay. They probably they probably posted them on a Facebook group or something like that to try to sell them flat out real quick or they posted on Mercari, or you guys say you saw
Whatnot.
someone- Whatnot live auction, like
$205
right after they got it. Probably right in the
205.
store. They're selling them before they bought it, even maybe. So
Yeah, they sold it 205.
Adding to that, John. Since we now have the retail price, that would be the first price. I don't know what that bundle was at the time, but
I believe it. Yeah, I think it was on there. I thought I saw that it was on there already at $100.
Okay, that would help, because that would be the very first price point, and then if the first sale is 250, then that's what we take, because that's what it is at that point of time. It generally comes down pretty quickly, and if you want to be the first to own it, then you kind of have to pay what people want to pay for it.
Right. No, it's
like in that scenario, if you have the list price in first, and let's say the second sale is $200, does it go to $200? Is that why we see those big? Like, let's say it was a smaller. Let's say the first price point was $15, and then the next price point is at $50. Because it doesn't do an average of that. It'll change right to that.
It does a calculation that takes the time of that price point into account and when it happened. So the most recent price is more important in the calculation than the past price point.
So will it go to 50, or does it go a little bit?
No, it won't go to 50, because there's still the weight of the old price point. So it will. The idea is to not do this,
right?
Like chart the price over time. So there may be a slight lag. I mean, if it sells for $10 in the retail, and then the first sale is 50. 2 days later, it might go to 35, and then if there's another sell at 60, then it goes to 50. And
that's interesting. I honestly, I guess I never. Yeah, that was definitely one of the things I wanted to find out tonight, because that's actually very interesting. So you're really it's almost you're graphing it, is what you're doing. You're not hitting that high point. You're not hitting the low point.
And what we're trying to do is we're trying to look at past price and seeing how do these price curves behave. We don't just take the last price point, because then that's all we could do. We just show that one.
Right.
And that's the current value then. So the idea is, if you had 7 sales last week, then those 7 sales make out the vast majority of the price. And if they were going up, then that price goes up further than if they were going up and down and up and down and up and down. But if they go up and down and up and down and up and down, you don't want to use the last price, because it may be up or down. You want to use some kind of median of those numbers.
Yep.
No, I think we have various scenarios. There's the scenario. There's only 2 price points 10 years apart. There's 50 price points last week, and they demand different kinds of calculations.
Yep.
So I got a question for you about so the Funko app, does it take your data and use it for pricing?
Yes.
What point does it take your data at? Like very beginning, or they
whenever they want to take it,
whenever they want to grab it?
It looks like it at times.
It's an API, and I mean they take it every night. They have some restrictions, because in the past they didn't have sticker variations. And in fact, I don't know, you may have seen, I think it started with the Star Wars series. The Star Wars series now have generally 3 different, what we call sub variations. The sub variation, so variants for us is, John, why don't you bring up just type in red Funko Batman Chrome.
Sure.
It's one of my favorites. That Batman, I think, has 16 color variations. You get them in red chrome.
I'm a little embarrassed, because I have all those variations.
Yeah. They're lovely. I mean, they're fantastic.
Jeez.
With all the different stickers too, by the way.
Yeah. I wonder really quick. So Funko Pat, I wrote down your question, so we're definitely going to get to that, guys. If you're dropping questions in the chat, I'm writing them down, because we will get to them at some point tonight. So let me bring this up for you guys. So it says there's actually 14 variations.
Yeah. So if you show those, so those are variants, and I think everybody wants to have all of those. Then you have sub-variants, and sub-variants like that guy there. Click on that. That is basically, so you got a target one, and what's the other one? It's a Primark.
The Primark.
probably not much of a difference. I didn't look at it quickly, but
it's a $3 difference.
Okay, that's probably noise. So I suspect there's not much of a difference. But if it's in your Comic Con versus a common, then you can have a big difference there. And for the so those are what we call sub-variations. Sticker sub-variations, I think, are well recognized and everybody knows about them. The Funko app doesn't have them for the past items, and there's a bigger difference.
So this is a good example of a significant difference between stickers.
That just drives me absolutely nuts. That it's the same box, same figure, everything. You can go print it on Vince's printer at home.
And what drives me nuts, what I think is awful is, why doesn't Funko, and we told them that, create another box? It's just so, you can buy these stickers on eBay, on Amazon, on Etsy.
Thank you. Say it every time.
But everywhere else.
Or just switch them from a cheaper pop.
Yeah.
Yeah, do something. But anyway, it's there, right? So now type in Boba Fett pop. I don't know the number of that one.
Familiar with that one as well.
Dan has every one of those as well.
It's 261, I believe.
By the way, if you go down a little bit on the left, you can type pop vinyl. That stops the socks and everything else to appear. Oh yeah, you can do that.
Oh, oh my God! Have I been using this wrong the whole time?
Jen, I think we could probably learn a lot tonight.
Yeah. All right. So let me. Oh, you said pop vinyl on the side.
On the left, further down. These filters. You can use all these filters. Vinyl art. So show more.
Oh, look at that.
Vinyl art toys. It has 6 sub variants.
Are you talking about like all the chrome ones?
No, I'm talking about
or this one, right? Where he's in the standard.
No, go a little bit further down.
102. Or this one with the 8 variants?
No, not that one. It has 3 variants.
This one?
No, further down. Sorry, that's a 10-inch.
102.
That one there. Click on the 6 sub variants.
Yeah, that's the one with the blue box.
Yeah.
Oh, with the
sticker OG box.
I think that's the one where we started doing this. That box there, that sub variant was a single language. That's when they didn't sell to Canada and Mexico, I guess. Was 116, and if you go down there, that's the next version, and that's where it's 23. And there's very little difference between the blue one and the black one.
But the large font, that's the one everybody wants.
That's the one that
I love when they did.
Started a year ago. We hadn't seen that before. And actually, it happened kind of because somebody mentioned it in the PPG Facebook group. We started looking at it. We saw a little bit of a trend. We started separating them out like this. And that kind of made it more of a thing. And that's generally what happens in almost every collectible. Go to Hot Wheels or Hard Rock Cafe pins. Over time, people go into these, what we call sub-variations.
So
it's interesting. It tells you about the history of the stuff, right?
Yeah.
So do you guys think you'll be doing that same thing with the soda cans with the different stickers that are on that? Either it's a con sticker or it's a shared sticker for the soda can?
We already do. And this kind of stuff is driven by the behavior, by the group. We have 2,000 volunteers. I think there's about 500 Funko ones. There's a Facebook group where we discuss policies and what we do and what we not do. And that's where this kind of stuff comes up.
Okay.
We're driven by what people want to see in terms of variations and sub variations.
I've seen that you guys have even put some in with just box 2017 release, 2021 release. I've seen that you guys started doing that, even though the boxes are the exact same, but it just has a different release.
There's certainly a difference. We had a discussion about, funny enough, some items have, some Funko products have 2 UPC codes, which is unusual because you have to pay for a UPC code. And it's important because the app is using those. So we had a discussion on that, and we felt that wasn't worthwhile a separate entry. So we have an alternative barcode, and you can put that in there. I.e., the app still finds the item. The description can say this one has 2 barcodes, but we didn't feel it warrants a separate entry. We can change that if the community feels strong about that. But it's always a give and take. If we have more sub variations, we have less price points.
And then you started adding the barcodes for also some of the Hot Topic box lunch ones I noticed too, where if you scan them in,
yes,
some of them. Some of them.
Yeah, well, we are talking to Hot Topic. Well, we're trying to talk to Hot Topic about getting them all. The problem with, I think it's mostly for Hot Topic exclusive where it's important. People feel they don't want to remove that sticker, and Hot Topic put that over the Funko sticker.
Yeah.
So,
so you can't scan it unless you have that number. We did the same with GameStop.
So will that, because Chris brought up the question, I had this on my list to ask as well, with the variant, like with the international sodas now and the US sodas, is that going to be listed in there eventually?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, it's totally up to the community. We've added a huge amount of special stickers, which I think is a misnomer for international. So you see a lot of those, and I think I've seen a question in the chat here about why they're sometimes more valuable. That could be two reasons. Early on, we don't have enough data, and you saw the $16 and the $19. That's kind of almost the same. That's what I would call noise. If there's a significant price difference, there tend to be a reason for it. And look at the data. I mean, if we have 2 price points internationally and they are old, and 16 price points US, then that may be the reason.
A lot of times the international are released first too, so people are paying a premium for the first release. So I'm not surprised when.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I'm really keen on is what I call compare, where you can say, okay, show me all Funko Sodas commons and show me all the price curves. Just drive them over each other. I think that's going to be awesome. Where you can choose what you want to draw as your own chart because you have a theory.
Well, I think when it comes to the sodas, I mean, kind of connecting back to what we were talking about with the auction platforms, I mean, I feel like a lot of the soda prices, at least on Pop Price Guide, are inaccurate because, I mean, there's some very sought after chases that are selling for a lot more on some of these auction platforms. So I guess my guess is that there's not enough sales on your typical data streams. I mean, do you think we're going to start to see big jumps, in some of these chases, for example?
Well, I mean, so we have that problem with everything that has a small run. My favorite example is the Orange Clockwork, where there were only 12 made, signed by Brian Marotti and friends. And we had 2 price points, and they're 6 years old and 3 years old, and for the other one we had 1 price point. It's hard to run an estimated value on that. And then Cletus Selden bought one and made a YouTube video on it, and we said, okay, that's good enough. We'll take that because there's a YouTube video, and we'll take that as a price point. We'll take any price point we can to get better data.
Was that Cletus Selden for his $12,000?
That's right.
Purchase.
Yeah. I know. We saw him changing hands. It looked genuine, so we took that price point. And that price point now links to that video, so you can check it. That's the thing we want. We want some kind of proof that can be independently checked.
Gotcha. Well, as far as checking, I would like to. This was actually on my list, so thank you, Funko Pat, for bringing this up. So how do you guys? We talked about variations, and we talked about subsets with special edition stickers, international soda cans. So how do you take into account damage when a damaged pop sells? Or do you not take into account damage? You just say, well, that item sold for that price.
No, we do. I mean, it's obviously important. I mean, and there are plans. We will do more prices. So I think we'll do loose items next because, some people collect loose, and it would be nice to see what loose prices sell for. Particularly if we can triangulate. I mean, my idea is you can look at every 2018 pop that's loose, and even if we don't have prices, we can make an inferent price from the mint in box price to the loose price. But to answer your question on condition, at the moment it has to be near mint or better to count. If it's an auction house price, you can put the price point in. If it's not near mint, it will show it but not calculate it. And the only exception to that rule is, let's say we had 3 price points, 2015, 17, and 19, nothing since. Our estimated value is $2,000, and a pop that's not really near mint sells for $2,500. Theoretically, we shouldn't use it, but we will, because obviously we're not right with our price here, right? So we only do it if there's a really good reason to use a non-mint, near mint price. That's the only example I can think of. We had a big discussion on that the other day. The item had a little more damage. You couldn't really call it near mint. There were only 6 of them made. So the next one, who knows when it comes up. it's sold higher than our estimated value. So to me, we're too low. So we'll add that price point.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, Michael actually made a good point, because I've noticed this before too. So for squad members, are they instructed to? Like a lot of times on eBay, you'll find that there's free shipping, or I think that's the only time that it really would factor in to kind of answer, I think, what Michael says. But I've seen price points brought in with the free shipping, so you're kind of assuming that it's kind of merged in there. Is there any ever instruction to it's got to be hard. I sometimes when I ask these questions, like I ask it to myself, and I know that there's volunteers putting it in. It's so hard to discern every single thing. Like I've seen a blue Bigfoot marked under the white Bigfoot pricing before, so I've flagged stuff on that kind of thing. I'm just wondering how in depth is an onboarding process for somebody that.
Okay, so you asked two questions here. Let me answer them in turn. So the first one was pricing, shipping. No, I mean the problem with shipping is, now let's say generally what happens is US pops get sold to Australia because they don't get them there, so the shipping is really, really high. Well, we don't want to take into account that. It just happens to be somebody in Australia who can't get the stuff otherwise.
Right.
It does. I mean, it would be nice to take into account, but I don't really know how. And for a $5 item, it's definitely a factor. But for a $100 item, much less so. So we don't take it into account. I mean, and also in that regard, eBay started charging fees on shipping. So in the past, you had people gouging on shipping because there was no fee. That's over. So it is something that's slightly untidy, but there's really no way of tidying that up. Your other question on onboarding. So we brought on board one of our volunteers. His name is Isaac. Great guy who now handles the onboarding. We've made a lot of changes. In the beginning, there was just a volunteer force. And in fact, at the very beginning of HobbyDB, anybody could add anything up to the database. We've changed that. So now the squad is 5 levels. You start as a contributor, which allows you to add price points and photos, and we watch those. And then you can become a creator, which means you can also add items to the database. And then you can be a curator, be responsible for a series, and then a coordinator. And there's a little eye on the top right that goes to our knowledge base. You can see, if you type in squad, you can see all of what they can do and who they are.
Yep.
And remember, we also document, I mean, for example, we have 120 volunteers for Hard Rock Cafe pins. We have 100,000 of those. We've got about 26,000 Funko items. They're self-organized. I tell the team, I don't really like it. There's about 6 of us full-time. And I tell them we're the janitors, and they never really like that. I said, we got to make sure that, the toilet works and that it doesn't rain through the roof. And, and we struggle with that sometimes. The server, for us, it's the service. We got to make sure everything works. And then the volunteers are really the people that run the place. And it's also why we now doing our third crowdfunding. 1,100 of our volunteers or members own the company. So I work for them. That's the janitor thing, I guess. So, we're trying to get much better onboarding. There's a Facebook group where we discuss new stuffs. There's about 250 pages now in the knowledge base that explain our rules. Basically, when something comes up, we bring it into a discussion with the right people. We talk about it. We create a rule. We put it into Tim.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it, bro.
Thanks, Tim.
Hi, Tim. So we put it in the knowledge base, and then people self-correcting, so saying, look, it's here. Here's a page. So it's a little like, think of us as a natural extension of Wikipedia. We start where they stop. They have a page in Funko. We have 26,000. We have 50,000 Hot Wheels. As I said, we have 100,000 Hard Rock Cafe pins. I never would have thought there's so many of them. Eventually, we have 100 billion collectibles in the site. And we have rules on how to add a Hard Rock Cafe pin. And you can see them, and they self-police that. Basically, that's the idea. They are, as I said, we have a subgroup of people. That's our audit team, and they audit. Particularly for Funko, we have a little bit, maybe with Hasbro Black Series Star Wars, there's a little bit of that happening. Where there's a huge community, where there's a lot of flipping, a lot of selling. That's where you got to watch those guys that come in and want to take shortcuts.
For sure.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of our autographed campaign? We have 4,000 autographed pops now in place.
I've noticed that almost on every pop that I've been checking lately.
I did see that. Now I want to. Well, all the autographs right off the bat. You guys don't do the non-authenticated, right? It's only authenticated JSA or Beckett certified autographs are in the database, or the ones that are tracked, correct?
Well, so what we do here is if there's a $7 a pop, for example, a limited edition of 75 or 10 or whatever he makes, that's a separate entry. And then everything else is the common entry for that item. So we take all those price points, and our plan is to allow you later to look at them. As I said, you can look at the price points below, and the idea really is to allow you to redraw the curve. So if you don't like a price point, you can remove it and rerun the algorithm and then see what happens. Yeah. If we were not going to use those, we wouldn't have enough price points. So for us, the rules around that's what I mean by knowledge base and rule building. When we started, we said it doesn't matter what color the pen is. It doesn't matter where the signature is. It doesn't matter what's on it. Because people write sentences and so on and so forth. Because we need price points. If we have 2 price points, there's not much you can infer from that. So those were all kind of the same to us. And the signature has to be somebody that is meaningful to that pop. We don't know Frank Sinatra signing a Star Wars pop. That just doesn't do anything for us.
Right.
It's got to be somebody who's relevant to that item. So those are kind of the rules that we came up with.
What I don't know, John, if we already touched it a little bit with the custom stuff.
So Tammy actually just brought it up. But first off, I want to thank Jacob for the super chat.
Thank you.
Cheers. My biggest question on it is, what's the process? Because I've made some custom Funko sodas, but what's the actual process to get one listed, like the very first one?
Okay, so again, there's 2 things here about customs. What is a custom? I'll come back to it in a second. And how do you add it? Well, it gets added the same way as everything else. You got to be second level, which is a creator. If you don't want to do that and you want to have it added, you can send it to us and somebody will add it in, but it may take a while. So we get maybe 10 a day that people send in. And we hope that those guys will join and do it themselves. So that's how it's getting added. We've had a poll on Paul Price Guide about customs. The community didn't want to see them, and therefore they don't show on PPG. They are on HobbyDB, and if you go to HobbyDB and add a custom into your collection, it will be a new PPG collection. So that's what a lot of people do. In terms of what is a custom, it needs to be meaningfully altered, and we're working on rules around that. And like some other things, there's editorial judgment needed. A price point, is it near mint or not? That's editorial judgment. A custom, is it really different enough? If you just write a line on it, then that's your item that has a line on it. If you altered it completely, then it's worthwhile being added into the system. And there will be some gray area there. And I noticed, maybe I should talk about that. I noticed in the comments somebody asked about pricing. When we get a custom pop, and it has a retail price of $200, that's often the only price that we have. Now, if you bought it, and if you own it, and you bought it, then you can report that price. You can join us and add that price in. If you don't own it, it doesn't really matter what we priced there, but it shouldn't really matter to you. So yes, our custom pricing is not perfect, and neither is our autograph pricing at the moment. That will change because lots of autographed items get sold. Customs, well, they often don't get traded very often. So the price may not be accurate, but if it's not in your collection, it doesn't really matter.
And I think one of the things with autographs too, you have big providers like Azobi is probably one of the largest ones. Most of the people that sell autographs actually work through Zobi to get their autographs because they coordinate most of those. And then also Dark Parlor, I think, are your biggest autograph people that are selling them. They have them on their site, or they sell them, pre-orders and all those kind of things. So it's a great place to probably get some of that data as well, too.
Yeah, and we're talking to some of those guys, and there are a bunch of pops that customs or autographed items that get sold through the site.
Yeah,
obviously we get pricing for those because they get sold through us.
I think you guys just had one the other day, today or yesterday.
Yeah, we have about every month now one.
Okay.
And we'll see where that pace is going. I mean, my ideal scenario is that I want to get to 50,000 volunteers that are also 50,000 owners of the company. So they own the company, and they will want to sell through the company. They will want to buy through the company, and they will want to add the prices, and then we have the prices automatically. We don't have to do anything. That's my dream scenario. I always wanted to build a site that has every collectible ever made, that shows you only what you want to see, that has the pricing information, that has all these features, that is free to use, and that's owned by the community.
So really quick, Steve, thank you so much for the super chat. And I think this is a perfect transition, Christian, for you to, promote the, investor program, to tell people about, how do I become a part owner? I think we've all seen an advertisement for it at some point. So, I mean, give us your spiel. Why would I want to own a piece of, your great company?
Well, I mean, so we call collectible the fan merch market. The fan merch market is everything that has a Spider-Man on it, or it's a collectible, something that was a useful item in the past is now a collectible. It's about a $500 billion market. Nobody really owns that marketplace, and I think collectors should own it. I think we should all own it. We should have a place that works well. I wrote an article about it's called "When Websites Die," and in the pre-chat we talked about prisons. I remember I talked to somebody in a prison in Mexico to try to get permission to use his data before his website got off the grid. It was a Playmobil website, and he got to prison for some reason. We take over other websites because websites go away all the time. In fact, I don't know if John would have been able to run Pop Price Guide. He reached out to us because he built it and he was self-taught, and the website went down for a whole week. And he couldn't fix it because it got so much traffic, and he couldn't just get it done. So he reached out to us and joined up, and since then we have managed that site. And that site might have been otherwise lost. I hated the fact that Wikipedia didn't allow me to document what I want to do. Here's when we talked about custom, this is a PPG custom we did. And I wanted to be able to add that to Wikipedia, but I can't. It's not notable.
You want to show that? I couldn't see it. You want to show it one more time?
I'm sorry. Got to do that, right?
Well, it's pretty cool. X23.
X23.
Yeah. I mean, this one sold out in 2 minutes. We had 50 of them, I think, or so. It was our first PPG custom. And I wanted to add to Wikipedia, but I can't. It's not notable, as I call it. I wanted a database that has everything that's always going to be there, that I can custom to my interests. And what we're planning to do over the next 12 months is where you can go to the site and saying, look, I like Funko, but only pops and maybe soda cans. And I like Lego, but only Star Wars sets, looking at you, John. And I like Barbie or whatever it is that you like. You can say that's my
John right there. He's the Barbie guy.
There you go. And then that's what you get to see. And I think that's perfect. And you can also, and probably as a next step, saying, but every now and then show me something new because I want to know what's happening else in the world. And you may have seen we have the ratings. We're going to use that to show you stuff that other people liked, that like what you liked. Does that make sense? Hopefully.
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
It does.
Yeah. So
it's like YouTube when you watch a video and then like a similar video pops up related to that content.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've seen it because I saw, John, you don't use our filters on the left. They're sorting on the right. You can sort by highest price, by most liked, by most owned, by all those kind of criteria. And it's kind of fun. You can look at every Funko Pop Batman ever made and which one is the most favorite.
Yeah,
I don't
and actually,
think-
if
I
you
don't
guys
think
search
so.
by subjects, you can even, like, I started getting in depth over the last week or two here, and I realized things that I've been using it for 3-4 years at this point, and yeah, if you start digging in there, like I'm trying to find my Thor Ragnarok pops. If you
Yeah.
click on if you search by subject, it'll basically bring up everything that's in there under the Ragnarok.
Yeah, and then
Subheader,
you can
which I
search
thought
by
was
date
awesome.
or production status.
Yep.
Subjects are very powerful. You can go to Funko and go every series, and you can go down and traverse that tree. You can find Funko-related designers. You can find Funko-related customizers. There's a lot in subjects that's really powerful. And if you like them, the plan is to make your homepage the stuff that you like. You can like people in the member directory, people that or want to get to know or whatever, and you can follow what they do. And if they keep stuff public, you can add something to your system privately or publicly. Then you get to see what they're adding to the collection. You can talk to them about it. You can send them a private message. You can follow a certain series and get updates on those. So there's a lot that's coming in that regard. So like subjects, the subject that you like.
Yeah, I think a lot of time, you go there, you just check the price of a pop, and then you're out of there. But I honestly, if you start getting into it a little bit more, and you want to build checklists and that kind of thing, I mean, everybody in the chat here, definitely check out the filters and that kind of thing, because you don't even realize what you're kind of missing out on until you start digging into it a little bit deeper.
Yeah, you can build your own list in the showcase. There's a lot of features that are powerful, that are a little bit hidden, and we're trying to make it a little more easy to see them and find them.
Yep.
So
I think that's the problem, though. Really quick, I don't think Joanna wants me to search every single Batman pop, because then I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy every single Batman pop.
What you can really do is, I don't know if you've seen that on the left. There's a filter of I have.
Yeah.
So you can say, show me every Batman pop that I don't have yet, that's not in my wish list.
Oh wow, that's dangerous.
That is worth more than $50 or can be bought at the moment for less than $20. So you can do all kinds of nice queries.
So you could like set your budget.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to. We'd like to bring in also the. I have it and I want it. I also want to bring in I don't want it.
I want to sell it. That's what you need a list. A separate
list. That you can do. You can build a list in collection management. You can create a list for sale, and then you can create that. But what I want is, let's say you collect all the sodas, and you make a decision that there are certain sodas you don't want to buy, for example. So what you can do is you can then say, show me all the new sodas that I haven't bought yet, that I haven't added to my wish list, i.e. the ones I haven't made a decision yet, and that I didn't say I don't want. So then you can say, okay, here's 4 sodas that I may have to make a decision. I either add them to my wish list or buy them now, or I add them to my I don't want them list. And then you don't see them again unless you put that filter on.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Josh, you said you had a question?
Yeah, so I had a question. So what funds HobbyDB and Pop Price Guide? So what kind of, where is your source of income?
Okay. Actually, I think I didn't really answer John's question. Why should he invest?
I have $5.
I think I went into it. If you go to, so when we raise money from our users, we have to file with the SEC. It's called a Form C. It's quite a big undertaking. It's basically like going public. And then there's only certain things you're allowed to say and not say, but you can write down everything you want to write down in Wefunder. So Wefunder is an SEC-approved crowdfunding portal where we have a profile where you can read about us. And our website in the top, I think, has a little link to it, so you can go there and read about it. And that also tells you how we make money. We make money by selling advertising. Sorry, there's a little bit of advertising on the page. We're trying to keep it light. When you click on an eBay link or an Entertainment Earth link, or you buy Pop Protector and those pages, we make a little money. Funko is paying us for using the API on their app, so we make a little money on that. So it's a combination of data advertising and affiliate, and then when people sell, we run We run a system called tokens. It's a classified system. So, different to most other websites, if you put up an item, you buy some tokens, you list the item, and then if you go to the database, John,
Sure.
It will be on the top there. I think you had it earlier there.
Just hit like this. Database items.
Yeah. So you up there where it says learn more on top.
Okay.
That's where you can go. In fact, that's our update. You see the little cross, you can cross that out, and we want to use that more. So that's going to be our way to communicate with people.
I just had to share the other screen. Oh, here we go. Invest in HobbyDB. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you go down a little bit further there, it has just to scroll further. You don't want to show me. That's me, part of my team. That's the fan merch market. Yeah.
Revolution.
Yeah, just go a little bit further. I think there's a Funko slide there somewhere.
For the Pez dispensers here, and then showing everything related to a person. Right here, keep going.
No, that's other sites that have joined us there. So there's PPG there, for example. No, go down further.
Oh, I see. Pop price guide right here. 16,400 Funko products.
That's how many we got when that joined. Now there's 26,000. So we've added about 10,000 since then.
So 10,000 in how long?
3 years, 4 years, 3 years.
That's scary.
Well,
last year we added 6,000. Right? Last year we added 6,000. So
now,
most of it came last year.
Is that 6,000 items that are all new that came out last year, or are some of those?
No, there's you saw the Star Wars variations that we had, sub variations that we added. So those came in. Autographed items were a big part of it. We've done a push for prototypes. We'd like to add all the prototypes to it.
I do have a prototype question. Not now. In a couple minutes, I do have a prototype question.
Anyway, so the answer to your question there is in that profile. There's it's a big document, and there's links to other documents and so on and so forth. So we are fairly open about everything that we do here. We have 1,100 owners. We do a monthly email to our owners. Many of them are members of the squad. There's a HobbyDB Corp website that explains a little more about the company behind HobbyDB and PPG. And we there's Funko Income. We have a roadmap where we explain what's coming next. So we have a list of maybe 60 or 70 features. I mentioned some of the conversation. You can find that in the knowledge base. So we are very open about the information here.
Very cool. And then, so are all these people then potentially shareholders? So if you did ever, someone came to you and said, we want to buy you out, say Whatnot came to you and say, we want to buy you out.
Yeah.
Are they potential shareholders then?
Those 1,100 people. I mean, I'm a shareholder, and there's 1,122 or so more that own the company.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can actually say. If you invest $100, you get 114 shares.
Okay.
And then if we sell, then you own those shares.
Okay.
Interesting.
I've learned a lot tonight so far.
Yeah, I really like to stress that because we are so dependent on our volunteers. The site can only be done by. We had an automaton. We had a little bot called Marcus, and Marcus was doing price points, and it just wasn't good enough. With the sub variations and the little dings and all the quality control in Funko, it just didn't work. It did work actually, since we talked earlier about Brickworks. It works for Brickworks. Brickheads.
Brickheads,
yeah, because they don't have sub variations. They have a number. They always have a number. They tend to be mint and say mint, and so with them we have like a 99.6% hit rate. With Funko, it's generally about 90%. It's just not good enough. So it needs to be done by hand, by a human.
totally understand why, for sure.
I mean,
Yeah. And I think that's why, why Funko is using us, because, Stash Peter was trying to do it, but it doesn't work. You just can't do it automatically.
So my question about prototypes, since you brought that up. So I particularly am not a prototype collector. However, there may be some people here in the chat who do collect prototypes. My knowledge is limited. I don't know everything about them, but I do know that they are pretty rare. Sometimes Funko only has a few of them. They don't come with boxes for the most part.
They don't come at all with boxes.
They're extremely limited. There could be like 5 or 6 based on them. So how do you track the legitimacy of a prototype? I mean, is there a certificate that you rely on when they first get released? Because sometimes they're just given away by Funko.
Yeah. So they used to be given out on fun days. Most of them. There's a very tight-knit community around prototypes. There's some Facebook groups for those, and we have a bunch of those guys on board that look at these. Every page on HobbyDB has a verification button, and we have a curator that's a cert level in the squad for Funko prototypes, a guy called Martin. He's very knowledgeable about the subject, and he verifies them. That being said, and to quantities, they generally seem to have done 6 in the past, and mostly they were given away. Fun Days was the major one to give those out. Also, Gemini sells them. 2 or 3 places get them as well from Funko and sell them.
It seems like SMI gets a lot now.
Yeah, so those tend to be legitimate sales, and you kind of want to track it back. I mean, it's a whole science in itself, and it's like customs. If you get a non-chase soda can, we should have pretty good data, and there should be loads and loads of price points. You got a custom or you got a prototype, we may be lucky if we get 1 price point, and so you're more on your own there. I mean, you can look at other customs, other prototypes, and get an idea there, and that's why I want to do this triangulation where you can say, show me all prototypes and what their pricing is, all 2018 prototypes. And that gets you more information. All we can do is give you as much information as possible and vet it as well as we can. And then you sometimes have to make your own judgment on the base of that information.
I think it's always like a lot of us talk about PPG is a starting for discussions and negotiations, depending on whatever it is. It's a great place to start a price negotiation. Because like we've all said, something mint that's 10 years old is a lot harder to find than something that's, has some wear and tear and dings. But if someone says they want it mint, it's going to be really, really hard to find. All those kind of things. I think most people are getting the prototypes right now by the Funko Pop Quiz TV show thing they're doing on YouTube. I think they're giving away 10 to 15 protos an episode. So
that thing gets tens of views.
Yeah, tens of views.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I'm moving into. You mentioned somebody who specifies in verifying very rare and limited Funko items. Moving the conversation towards a little bit, a bunch of people have mentioned it tonight about fakes. And I know you have people going through and looking through listings. And you mentioned earlier about the eBay sellers that are flagged. So do you have members of your team that specify in identifying fake pops, like the pop itself, not just the seller or a bad,
Yeah, absolutely. So we get 100 flags a day. I would say half of those are Funko related. Oh, wow. And maybe half of those are, this price point is not genuine. And then we have somebody look at that, so at that point of time, somebody will have made a judgment already and added it or not added it. We have a database of maybe 3 million price points that we didn't accept. Wow. That are also waiting there that don't show on the website. And the idea of having them is if somebody else adds them in there, it'll say this was already rejected. Don't put that in. Yeah. So yes, it gets looked at, and it gets looked at by a senior member of the squad.
Yeah, when you flag an item, you're actually able to. You could put a little. I've done this before. That's why I know. You actually can type in why you're flagging the item, and you could say it's fake.
In fact, we ask you to do that. We really want to know why you think that's not genuine. Because somebody thought it was genuine. So we love flags. We get them all day long, as said.
I believe it.
And if something is flagged, you can tell that it was flagged at one point in time, and it's an ongoing flag. It will tell you that too.
Oh, that's interesting. That I didn't know.
Yeah, it will have a little eye next to it and saying, this is currently reviewed at.
Okay.
And we try to review them within a day or two.
Yeah, because fakes are a huge problem in the community, as you probably are.
Yes, they are. Actually, in fact, we have added a feature called the fake photo. And what that is you may have seen them. Some people come out with saying, here's the explanation of, the frame around the box is not deep enough, or there's logo missing or something. The DLM number is not right. We'd love to collect that and put that into the database. And then once we have enough of that, there will be a section called fake information, and we'll show those images and the caption that explains what this image explains. You can also add a fake video to it. You have the ability to add a video onto a database item. So we'd love to get more information, because it is an issue and it's not going to go away.
No,
it's not going to go away at all. And that's why, one of the things that, people come to the four of us all the time just because we're experienced collectors, we're content creators. And they're like, hey, can you verify this? Do you have this in your collection? So, I've tried to make a few videos out there and we've gotten some really good feedback, but having a database, where you can go right and you can see those comparison pictures, because I have seen some of those and they're awesome. So, they're definitely needed.
Yeah, they can be added. We encourage every user to add as many photos to the database as possible, because every photo helps. And then this is a particular label. We also have the Artistry Photo, and we plan to do a stream of artist photos. When people really do a nice job in taking art and putting it on in the wild and make a photo of that. Those can be added to the database too as Artistry Photo, and they can be later shown as a separate stream. And then we have fake photos for fake information. Yeah.
I like those.
You guys should all join the squad and add the information into it.
I'm going to be
signing up.
I'm dropping some.
I'm definitely going to be joining. I can tell you right now.
Yeah, I'm signing up.
I'm dropping some cash.
Jim can drop the cash. I'm signing up. I'm going to be a squad member.
So I'm going to own you. Vince, you'll work for me. You'll be working for me.
You know what? What's new?
But to further just add on to that really quick, with, you said a senior member of your team is looking at that. Is everybody, on your team, are they collectors? Where do they get that experience and that knowledge? Is it just studying the market?
Sorry, when I say team, that to me, this team is a squad. So the team is 2,000.
Okay.
The core team, the people that work here full time, I got 3 developers, and myself on the product side, and then Chris collects baseball cards. He runs the social media and the blog. Isaac collects model cars and Lego. He's the guy who handles any squad-related questions. And Alex runs marketing, and he collects snow globes.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. What about you? What do you collect?
So I really love 1930s to 1950s space toys. So robots, I don't know if you can see those little images there. I'll put them up a little bit. Those guys there. Those are children puzzles from the 50s.
Wow.
And, I like Buck Rogers. So this is my Buck Rogers cup here. This is Wilma, his female companion. They would be great pops, actually. So anything that's space related. And then I have a collection of these guys. Can I see them? These things is one of my favorite ones.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Can't get that right. So I have like 50 or 60 of these, and every time people come,
oh my god,
we'll do races with these.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is a lot of fun. So then we just have a ton of Lego. With my son, I built a lot of Lego. My daughter used to collect LOLs, but that's out of the window now. We'll see what she comes up with next.
Yep.
There's all kinds of stuff in the house.
That's really cool. So
But if money was no object, I would collect 1950s robots from Japan. Unfortunately, some of them cost $300,000-$400,000.
Oh yeah.
And money is an object, so
a little pricey. So Poppin' Beats asked how to sign up as a squad member. So we just went through it, and then if you go to the Pop Price Guide page, and I actually still have the page up, there's a separate tab here that takes you to this page where it says invest in HobbyDB. Correct, Christian? I'm on the right page here.
That is, yes.
That's
this is Wefunder. It's a SEC approved crowdfunding portal. And we have to use one of those to fundraise for compliance reasons. So they handle that part for us. But that's where you can buy some. You can see invest $100 and you get 114 shares.
Very nice.
A squad member is different than that.
Squad member is different. If you go to the site.
The regular Pop Price Guide site?
Yes.
Okay, let me see. Okay.
If you click on the eye there, okay, well, you got the green button on the right, contact HobbyDB.
Okay.
So you can do that, and you can say, hey, I want to join the squad.
Okay.
And if you go to an empty database search like you did earlier, and you click on that eye, further up there.
Yep.
That opens our knowledge base. You probably have to go to a new page now. And the squad is explained all the different roles and how they work, our rules and everything else. We also explain which price points we take, which ones we don't, what plans we have in terms of price points. You find loads and loads of information there.
Very nice.
I'm going to sign up this week. I honestly find this all very fascinating. You know what? I'm a numbers kind of person. I like seeing all the data points and whatnot. And you know what? Anybody that's in the chat right now, if you've ever complained about HobbyDB, you should be signing up as well, and you should be contributing because it's like Christian said, it's ran by the community. I mean, anybody that wants to complain about it, pitch in and let's all.
Yeah, and we have a Facebook group and you can complain about us there. We take those complaints serious. If you complain to us outside, we don't. But volunteers are allowed to complain as much as they like, and we will take heat when they do.
I think that's the first time I've heard somebody encouraging coming to complain. That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, almost all the good features from the site come from conversations with people.
Right.
If you ever go to the knowledge base, there's a page called Features Yet to Come. And every time I have a conversation with a person, they tend to have 3 or 4 ideas. And generally, sometimes we've already implemented them and I explain that, or we will implement them, I'll say it and I'll send them the page, or we will add it to the page, or I'll explain why we can't do it. Like, for example, Mercari pricing comes up all the time. As soon as Mercari will allow us to link to a page where you can see the transaction happened, we'll take that pricing. If they don't do that, we can't take it.
Have you guys ever thought of doing just a PPG app versus the DB app?
Yes. So app is an interesting question. I mean, our app is really a barcode scanner that then goes to the website.
Right.
And the reason why we did that is, take Funko. Funko invested a lot of money in the app. And once they had the app running, they deleted the database. I don't know if you remember, they had a database on their site. Because you have to maintain 2 different systems and it's hard. So we made the decision that what we want to do is the app allows you to barcode scan and in future also what I call image recognition. If you have a loose item, let's say you have a door, sometimes they're hard to recognize. You photograph it, it comes up. We have a large database, probably with the images that we haven't uploaded, 20 million images. So we'll be able to find that item. And that's what the phone is good for. The phone is really good to barcode scan or image recognition. Everything else should be done on a mobile website. And what we want to do is instead of building an iOS app and an Android app and a mobile website, we just want to build an excellent mobile website.
Yeah.
and then give you what I call context. So instead of having a PPG one and a HobbyDB one that I have to separately maintain, and it's actually very hard to do that with Apple. They don't like that. I want to have only one, but what I want to do is give you the ability to say what you want to see. So if you like
exactly
film
what I was asking,
posters and Funko, then that's what you get to see.
Yep.
Because not everybody likes Funko, likes everything that's on PPG. You may not care for the socks and the Christmas ornaments that they have. If you like pops, you may hate the fact that you see just loads and loads and loads of pops, right? If you only like autograph pops, then you can say that. So the idea is whatever you collect, if you only collect pink Funko Pops, you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to say, I want to see pop vinyl Funko pink. That's your.
I love that idea. I mean, honestly, with my phone now, all I do, I have it set up with PPG. I just have a shortcut straight to PPG. But whenever I want to use the scan feature, I'll use the HobbyDB app to use the scan feature, and then I just kind of bounce back between the two. So yeah, I totally get the point on that. If you just did a real good mobile, a mobile website, that's really all you need nowadays. You can.
The idea is you wouldn't even know. I mean, that was always my plan.
Exactly.
You don't even know it's not an app, right? You don't need to know is this going to be iOS native or is it going to be React, or why do you care? As long as it works, right? As long as it does what you want to do, which is get as fast as possible to the item that you're looking for.
Yep, exactly.
So I have a question here from the chat that I want to respond to from Nick Bayer. He wants to know if on HobbyDB they will be listing G.I. Joes and Marvel Legends, if that will be tracked.
Yes, we actually have quite a lot. I mean, there's a marvelous guy that I did mention earlier, Zach Fisher, who joined us, and he used to run the Toy Collector app, which was basically had 130,000 action figures. So it was basically a big checklist that he worked on for 10 years. And he joined us, and all of that is coming over. So we will have 6,000 G.I. Joe items. And then we have to add prices to it. So we need more help. We need volunteers. And it's the same thing. The Hardware Cafe called us and said, we have a database of Hardware Cafe pins. We want to close it down. Can you take it? And we're like, yeah, we take it. We're 65,000 pins now. We have 100,000, and everything has a price point now, at least one. Many of them have 20 or 30 price points. So we love that. We've now done all of Kid Robot. I think we have all of Loyal Subjects. We really like to go by brand and just add everything and then add prices to it.
I love that you did Kid Robot. That helped me out a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why they did it, Jim, just for you.
Yeah, I figured.
Let's see. Dr. Dork's Hideout says, will you do Transformers? I have a huge collection and there's no real PPG on that.
Dr. Dork, join us. It's a green button. Email us and we'll set you up.
There's a donate button as well.
We have quite a bit of Transformers, but nowhere near complete. That's really what we like to do, get something complete. Like the Brickheads we talked about earlier, those are complete. Hot Wheels, we have 55,000 items. That's really when it comes to the fore, when everything is there.
So, Christian...
Really cool. I was going to say, in terms of the Lego Brickheads, I feel like that's unfair. There's only 150 of them that are actually Lego sets. So
yes, but the most important thing is a guy who does it. There's one of our squad members, and he adds them in.
Oh, very cool.
We have what people add in. We had somebody added 500 decoys. Now we have decoys. We have some carpets too. We have some corkscrews. If somebody joins and wants to add them, then that's what we built it for. That's why I call us the janitors. We build it, and if you want to come and exercise whatever collectibles you have, then we'd love to have you.
So Christian, on the Matchbox, on the diecast cars, is it just Matchbox, or are you guys gonna eventually go to other diecast?
Yeah, we have 200,000 different model cars, 210,000 different model cars in the system now. We have 30,000 Matchbox. We have 25,000 Tommy Cards, Japanese brand.
Because there was a short period of time which there was a company called Action Collectibles who did diecast cars, and I have a ton of them.
Oh, these are the NASCAR ones?
Yeah.
Yes. We have a few of them, not all of them, but please join us. We're very good at basically what happened is there was a website called South Texas Diecast. It was run by a very nice chap who ran it for 16 years. Then he had a heart attack. He survived it, but his kids said, we don't want the database. And he got worried about it, because there was a lot of time spent. And the same like John with PPG. So he called us and said, do you want the data? I'm like, yeah, we'd love to get the data. And he had about 24,000 entries. Now we have 55,000. There's probably about 60 Hot Wheel squad members now. And that's generally what happens. Somebody starts it off, other people join and build it up from there. It's the same with the autographs. I mean, when we did autographs, there were at least 10 people that said, oh, you do autographs? I collect those. I want to join. And then they join and they just do that.
And for those that don't know, I mean, I collect a lot of these and show them off on my channel. There's Fig Pins on there. There's Tiny Ghosts. There's Abominable Chomps. So those are all on Hobby DB side. So anyone's looking for some of those are actually over there.
Yeah, and maybe important to say your username works on both sides. Yep. So it doesn't matter if you're on HobbyDB or on PPG, it's really the same. The only difference is what we call the context on the homepage. So, when the PPG community didn't want to have customs, we didn't add customs to PPG. They're on HobbyDB. If you want a Tiny Ghost, we have all of them. You can go to HobbyDB, add it to your collection. It will be in your PPG collection.
So another big topic that I want to touch on, just because I feel like it's a little bit of a sore spot with collectors, so maybe you can shed some light on it, and that is with with vaulted items and items that Funko has declared that they're not going to make anymore. However, we've had some issues and situations recently, as of one this week, where an item all of a sudden gets restocked, comes back into play. Collectors get upset because it brings down the value now that there's more. Some collectors get excited because they get to purchase that item at a low price or retail price for their collection. So I guess the biggest thing is, are you told by Funko directly when an item is vaulted? What's the situation for that?
No, we've asked for that. I mean, basically, we had a lot of discussion on the term vaulted. Really, what it means, it's discontinued, and it's a statement the company makes. And hopefully they agree to. Hopefully they buy to it, but maybe sometimes they don't. We'll take that date. We have a first release date and we have an end date. So you can add that into the system, and that basically means the item is vaulted. And if it comes out again, we have discussion: is it a subvariant? Is the packaging different or not? So that's a discussion the squad has, and then they added to it. I thought you were attacking me on something. That's obviously a Funko thing.
No. We're not here to attack you.
Yeah, if they you can. I mean, there's, we had performance issues, and I feel bad about those. Luckily, you didn't bring those up. But if Funko says something is vaulted, they should stick to it. I mean, it's the same. It's the same as, I hate their stickers. Why can't you just spend a little more money, a little more effort in making these convention pops different, so that you can separate them, and that it's not, you can't use John's printer and make some new ones.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's where this is a sidetrack, and I know we mentioned NFTs earlier, but that's where I'm really disappointed in Funko. I thought they were going to go down the route of, say they make 1,000-piece pop, and then each one of those pops has a significant NFT, and then I thought it'd be really cool, for you guys, if you could track the sales. So let's say I buy the pop from Jim, who, he bought it from Vince, who bought it from Josh, and Josh went to the con. Like, that's where I was kind of hoping. Yes. Yeah, I just thought that'd be really cool. Side argument with the NFT.
Actually, that reminds me on something that I did want to bring up, and I might just do now here. We are working on a trading concept, and way back, I guess you guys have gray hair, most of you. Way back, collecting was a little different before the internet, right? You would meet people, and I traveled with a suitcase to another town and had stuff with me, and I traded there. Because that was the only way you could do it, really, and it was fun. You got some drinks, you go for dinner, you trade something, or trading cards are very much like that, right? Baseball trading cards, you traded them in school. I think that's much harder. There's a little bit on Facebook, but we're coming up with a scheme where you can do that, where you can say, look, here's my duplicates, I trade. This is here's my wish list. Here's what I have for trade. Show me what you have, and then you do a trade, and it works on the site. They will be handed over, and they come into your collection in a new container set, waiting to be delivered. When you get them, you can give them feedback. It's like a transaction. It's just a two-way transaction where no money changes hands.
That's amazing right there, because one of the biggest issues in our community is, making a no money transaction trade with somebody, because it takes a lot to box something up, send it to somebody else, and just have all that faith in the other person that they're going to send you what is promised. It's very difficult to trade in this day and age. So if you have a third party kind of managing that.
Yeah, the way it would work, John, is when you buy something on HobbyDB or PPG, you can click on the showcase and you can see what do they have, who do they know, how long have they been a member of. And that's what I believe in. I always believe in giving you a ton of information, all the information that is out there, and then you make a judgment. So if you want to do a $20 trade with somebody who joined last month, maybe that's your risk profile. That's okay. But if it's a $500 item, maybe you want to make sure that guy's been there for 3 years and 2 other people that know that person, and then you do it. And effectively, this would be 2 transactions. I get 2 pops from you, you get 1 from me that you selected. We'll send them separately, separate feedback on them.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's awesome.
That
even in the chat tonight, right before you came on, people were already trying to trade their turtle sodas that they just got. They don't even have them in hand yet. They're already trying to, offer them up for trade to other people. So
but trading is fun because, trading is different to a transaction, right? You actually have to talk. You have to socialize and you get to know the other person. Maybe you like the other person and you start communicating more and trade more, because trading is part of the fun of the hobby. And we kind of missed that over the emergence of eBay and whatnot and so on and so forth, where it's all like buying. Trading will be fun.
I think trading still exists. It's just unfortunately, I know I've been burned. I'm sure, all you guys have unfortunately had rough trades. So you could have 10 or 12 good trades. And then if you have one bad trade, you lose some money, potentially hundreds of dollars. That's definitely going to sour somebody from doing it again with somebody, So.
Yeah. We get that a lot in the fig pin and that kind of collecting. There's much more trading happening there. Smaller item, easier to ship. It's more of the part of the culture, but I think there will be more of that. Mm-hmm. Also, with the emergence of the 1066, 1099s at $600. Do you really want to become a dealer, right, with $600? So this way, you can buy a few items extra, and you can trade with other people to get what you can't get otherwise.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. Aussie Pop and Paul says you can make great friends doing trading. And, hopefully with the emergence of, the world getting back to normal, we can all hang out at cons and that'd be great. Everybody goes on their phones, they check, Pop Price, WDB, and they,
John, I just say that Noel's comment, trade only with people near you. We have that too now. You can add your location and we will, and so going forward, you can say, I want to find people that want to trade Funko Pops near me. Then you can meet in person. And
when you say it gives you a location, does it give your zip code? Because obviously
you can choose how much information you want to add to your profile. If you go to a showcase, you can add your location. So you can say, I'm in Boulder. I can put it in Boulder. I can put it in Colorado. I can put it in the United States. That obviously doesn't help much for trading. So it's up to you how much you're willing to put in there.
Yeah. I love that.
And then one of the other plans we do have is, one of our curators, Scott, for example, does local events in Arizona, Funko Pop trade meets, right? And we love to support that kind of stuff. So going forward, if you like Funko Pops and you're based in Arizona, you may get a private message saying, hey, we're doing, this guy's doing an event. Here's the details. If you want to go along, do that.
I like that too.
So Paul brings up a great question. He said, will that be for the international community as well?
Absolutely.
Except Australia, not Australia.
We don't like Australia.
They don't get anything. Australia gets screwed all the time.
Yeah, we do have plans also to add more currencies to the system so that you can manage your collection in Australian dollars.
Nice.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a challenge, being an international collector, because I think you actually mentioned an interesting statistic before the show that I definitely want you to share with everybody about the percentage of collectors that are in North America, which I find is pretty crazy.
Yeah, so 2/3 of the collectible markets is actually in the United States, not even Canada and Mexico. Nobody collects more than you guys.
That's why Funko sodas are on Funko Europe still. That's why. Yeah. That's why some.
But that's really everything. Collecting in the US is taken more serious than anywhere else. In the US, 1 in 7 Americans has a collection. That's about 2-3 times the amount than overseas. And then when Americans collect, often both of them collect. I'm not looking at you here, John. Both collect, and you spend more money on the subject than anywhere else.
Do you think it's a lot about like growing up? And I know like the US is probably the biggest with like cards. So baseball cards, football cards, basketball cards, all these things. Like I grew up that's my starting in collection, right? Like I had baseball cards and I had basketball cards. Like that's where you start a lot of them. And we have a lot more companies around that serve the US, and of course a lot more teams and things like that.
Well, that's not really true, because like for example, I had those too. I'm German. I was raised in Germany. Yeah. We had trading cards. I remember 30 Fanatics would be buying me 6 cards, and there was a sticker book. You put them in. We just collected soccer versus American football.
There you go.
I was just wondering if we had more, though, a variety. Like
maybe. I mean, you would be surprised. There are local language markets that are very strong on their own. So if you go to Scandinavia, it's a lot of US toys and collectibles. Yeah. But if you go to Germany, for example, there are a large number of German companies that you probably never heard that. Viking makes model cars in 187 scale. So about 60,000 of them. We haven't documented them all yet. There are a large number of French companies that you probably never heard of. Take comics, for example. There are probably about 1.5 million comics we have to document, American ones or English ones. Mm-hmm. But then you got maybe almost the same number in French.
Yeah.
Well, I think like Josh said, it's just if we grow up with it, or if we grow up with
there is something to the American psyche about collecting.
I think that's the biggest thing to say right there.
Having stuff.
Well, Americans sit around back in the day. We sat around and watched, cartoons and pop culture stuff. Like other countries, they're out and they're working their butts off at 8, 10, 12 years old. They're already working, So it's a different aspect on life back, when you were little,
But collecting is also a form of, stress release. It boosts mental health, at least for us. So other people around the world might do other things where we just collect, and that kind of fills our void and makes us happy.
Yep.
So I'm just trying to defend the 2/3 of us that are crazy any way I can. So,
well, I love it. So, for me, it's not a problem.
I really appreciate that you, and it sounds like, a lot of the members of the squad there have all different interests, and a lot of people are bringing in different genres and different, collecting knowledge to the table, which is really, really cool and unique. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to our knowledge space, you see we have an advisory committee, council of now 76 people, and those guys own 50 museums. They've written 300 books on collectibles. They have a bunch of Guinness Book records. We've got a guy with the largest Monopoly game collection in the world. There's a dude in Austria that has the largest PES dispenser collection. He has about 22,000 PES dispensers. Wow. There's a guy collects castles, toy castles, toy forts and stuff like that. And he has some going back 500 years. Actually, castles used to be educational tools for princes. So if you were a king and you had 2 sons, you'd buy 3 toy castles and 600 soldiers, and you would train them how to attack that castle. It's just
sounds fun,
and that's why I love my job. We cover any type of collectible. I personally I wouldn't collect decoys, but I find there's some really interesting information about them, and I learn about that kind of stuff, and I like.
So, what's the weirdest collectible you have on HobbyDB? What do you think is the weirdest thing?
Don't want to offend anybody. Maybe Victorian Centoys.
Okay.
I think there's only 3 known collectors of those. One of them said he was going to go inside and add them. These are wooden boxes that have sand in them, and they have on the wall. They were kid toys, and you turn them around, and then they run down in various ways.
I think I had something like that before.
Well, you probably had a modern version of it. These go back
I don't think. Years. Yeah, I don't think it was a wooden box, but yeah, no, that's interesting.
But
yeah, I mean, we when I say Wikipedia, Wikipedia does the wars and the politicians. We do mankind's lesser achievements. It doesn't matter if you made a one-off custom, you can add it to our system. We document everything, and I like that.
So you mentioned a lot of stuff about some projects you're working on, and expanding the database. And you said a couple of times that you want as many collectibles to be documented on the site for price points as possible. What is the big picture? Where do you see? Do you see the company expanding? Like, what is your dream? If you could have the HobbyDB be exactly how you want, like 50 years from now, where do you see it?
Easy. Every collectible ever made. That's our slogan. 100 billion entries. I mean, I'll just show you this here.
Luckily, he has pants on.
This, I don't know who you normally talk to. This here is what I call data donations. So people have sent these in. I have 10 million of them. Some companies, some individuals, they just send that's the information that they've collected and they want part of the database. I have 10 million of those sitting here that I want to add to the site. We have maybe 50 companies that want to have an official archive where they're saying, here's our information, can you take it, please? Actually, there's a English company that makes teddy bears, and they have sent me 2 data disks that are in a operating system that doesn't exist anymore. I haven't been able to figure out how to get that information. I hate the fact that information gets lost. People write a book or create a website or have an Excel spreadsheet, or a company has an archive, and invariably they get lost. And I want to make sure I get that before it's gone.
Gotcha. Well, that's awesome. I want to make a campaign for some more T-shirts. Can you hook us up with a Pop Price Guide T-shirt? Because that thing is awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, this one is a nice. It's made by one of the team members. It's a nice design, I think.
That's a great way, to raise money for the site. Make a cool T-shirt. Do a drop. It'll sell out pretty quick.
Yes.
Throw it.
So that actually, that was a discussion that we had at the squad level. Is a T-shirt bundle different if it's XL versus L, or is it not different? Do people buy it for the T-shirt or they buy it for the pop?
I noticed the size thing starting to pop up on T-shirt bundles lately. And they only have 2 sizes, like medium and extra large.
Well, you can add all of them. I mean, you can join us. I don't know. Maybe somebody added that because they have that. But the idea is to be all there, because if you want to buy a T-shirt, we unbundle them, right? We have the bundle. You can say you have that, and we have the T-shirt and the pop separately, because maybe
do you think bundling the sizes though skews that data even further though, separating that data out?
It does. That's why we had a discussion, and that's one of the things that we want to do is enable you to collapse all the prices. So, for example, if you look at a T-shirt bundle and there's 5 sizes, S, M, L, XL, and XXL, and there's no difference between those prices, then you can collapse them in, and then you can see all of them, and you get better information.
Interesting.
I think in general, when you make splits, you get more accurate information. If it's important, it helps. So, for example, when we looked at those Batman pops, where there was a real price difference, 25 versus 60, that's a meaningful difference. But if they're 25 and 28, then you should be able to collapse them and just see all the price points to get better data. But you should be able to do that call. I mean, we may suggest it. We may say, hey, do you want to see? I mean, when you look at that and there's only 3 price points, it could say, do you want to see all of them? And then you click that button and then you see all of them. And then you notice, okay, maybe I haven't looked at that, but maybe the XL is the most valuable one because that's what most people want.
Or just the most price point on that platform too, or something like that. Or most sold, highest.
Yes, but then maybe I mean I think if it's a more a subject that men like more, than the S is probably less valuable than the XL, and vice versa. I don't know, but it's interesting to know that, right? I mean, if you can look at the last 300 T-shirts and saying, give me all the prices for all S versus all XL, so maybe it tells you that's a 20% premium for an XL. I make this up now, but that's kind of where I want to get to, where you can drill in and find the data that you want to find.
Right.
That's awesome.
I mean, we did when we started after 2 years, we did a little challenge. You know, how quick can you get from the subject of Batman to the subject of the mallard, the duck? And it quickest so far is 6 clicks.
Okay.
You need to find a collectible that has something else that you can click on to something else, so you end up on mallard.
Oh, I believe that.
Interesting. Well, we're coming up to our 2-hour mark. So, Christian, is there anything you want to leave everybody with and talk about?
If you have ideas, send them in. If you want to help, we'd love to have you. If you want to own part of the company, I'd love to work for you.
Well, that's awesome. So I hope everybody enjoyed tonight's conversation. Christian, hopefully you can hang out backstage for a couple minutes while we just do our outro and everything. But thank you so much for taking the time, for giving us so much great information, and just, you know, informing everybody that watches our channels. And just this has been awesome. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, my pleasure.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
For sure.
Well, Christian, we'll see you in a couple minutes. Thank you once again for coming on. So everybody, please thank Christian for the amazing interview. Our first full-length featured guest here on Pop Force 1.
Yay. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was fantastic. So I figured, guys, we can just wrap up our show tonight. I really thank everybody. We had a great crowd tonight. Very interactive. You know, a bunch of people were, you know, asking or answering in the polls and asking very knowledgeable questions. So thank you guys. You know, I hope you got something out of it. We don't get to do something like this every day. It was a real genuine pleasure. But I figured we end the show with Jim. Why don't you tell everybody what you got coming up this week?
We got a lot of good stuff. We got a busy week coming up. So just giving you guys a heads up. We got a big first look video dropping in the morning. I didn't get time to do it tonight because of the show, but we got 3 videos in 3 days, all brand new sodas, all first looks. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So 3 videos in 3 days, and we're doing 3 auctions in 4 or 5 days. So we're having an auction tomorrow night, all brand new sodas. So come hang out and whatnot and check out the videos. The videos are going to be fun.
Nice.
So that's it. That's a lot though for me. 3 in 3 days.
That's a lot.
I'm tired. Just everything you said, I'm going to go take a nap. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So we dropped the video today. If you didn't check it out, we had a nice little box battle going on. For Soda Saturday, we're doing something very different. So you'll have to check it out on Saturday morning, drop at 9 a.m. Eastern. So check it out on Soda Saturday. And then we're not doing an auction on this Sunday because we didn't want to compete with the Super Bowl and everyone trying to do stuff. So go enjoy the Super Bowl. We're going to go enjoy the theme parks, I think. Go to Universal or something. Why everyone's watching
that day.
That's a good, that's a good idea.
That's what we usually do. So, and then for the next auction will be the following Sunday. So, and then back to some, normal videos and all that kind of good stuff next week. But yeah.
Oh, John, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to thank everybody for the well wishes. My brother was in the hospital with COVID really bad. Like, it was bad for a while, but he's out. He's at home now, still on oxygen, but they let him go home, so he's doing better. So thank you, everybody, for the well wishes. That was awesome, and I really appreciate it.
It's great to hear.
So,
and I got a bonus thank you. So bonus thank you for everyone that came out to my charity auction.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
Last week. So we had a great time. We raised $2,000 that will be donated this weekend at the Dream Gala. So I'll be there this weekend. With Shannon, we'll be at the Dream Gala and we're going to make our donation. So it'll be fun to do that. And then, but appreciate all the support from everyone in the community. You guys are awesome. And then so many people, we had several people send in stuff to donate, and then I donated stuff, and then everyone that donated that bought something or got a mystery box or got something, through the auction and those kind of things. So really, really appreciate it.
Awesome. Vince, you're up.
He's frozen.
Video tomorrow. I don't even know what video as of yet. We actually have a family live Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. is I believe the time we decided on. Because we are going to be out of town towards the end of the month, so we're doing a little early. So that will be Saturday night, and then videos next week. That's it.
Nice. Who are you rooting for the Super Bowl, Vince?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm very torn. You know what? That's a very complex question. You know, our ex-quarterback is the quarterback for LA.
I had no idea. I thought it was.
So, you know what I mean? Like, I kind of want to root for him. I kind of don't want to see him win, you know? So, I like the Bengals. Don't even ask me, John. Why'd you ask that question?
I don't know. I've never asked again. That's it. Never again.
No, don't ask me questions.
Anyway, guys, so today we dropped a big hunt video. If you guys didn't see it, I know it was a little long, so you guys don't have to watch the whole thing by any means. It was just there's a lot of cool stuff. So I know some people did watch the whole thing. I did it on purpose just because there was really cool stuff throughout the whole store. If there was only, you know, commons in one section and the same stuff in other sections, it was long. You know, if you want to watch it in parts or if you just want to skip to the end, completely fine. We enjoyed every second being in the store. There is a giveaway at the end of the video if you want to check that out. Yesterday, we dropped a soda video with some new sodas that just came in. So that's why I think in the hunt video today, I say, come check us out for Pop Force 1 tomorrow. It's because we already filmed it and then we had to bump it a day. So, and then tomorrow we have our regular couples duel with myself and Joanna. So come on out and yeah, check that out. We won't be live tomorrow. Vince has got his live Saturday night. What time is your auction, Jim, tomorrow?
5 o'clock Pacific, 8 Eastern. It's going to be short. They won't be very long auctions.
Nice.
So.
And then I know a bunch of people have reached out to us. We have very limited new sodas. I would love to hook everybody up with some of the new ones. We're just gonna do it like we did last time. We're just gonna throw them up Monday night on our auction. You know, whatever they go for, they go for. I might take one out for a giveaway, so be on the lookout for that. And then yeah, we'll just roll right into next week with our regular video schedule. So. It's been crazy, so thank you guys for all the support, and I tonight was awesome. I had a great time, so I hope you guys did too.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I love that stuff.
But with that being said, guys, have a great night. Please enjoy the Super Bowl weekend. You know, hang out with some friends, eat some good food, and as always, don't stop shooting until you score. We'll see you guys soon.
Gosh darn it, be nice to each other.
Night, everyone.
Bye.
Good night, guys.